to hope to keep our children and everyone safe in this area. So to talk about the campaign mission, I would like to introduce Rabbi David Lyon. Rabbi?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Rabbi David Lyon. I'm the senior rabbi of Congregation Beth Israel. And one of our missions is not only to be a congregation for ourselves, but to be a congregation within the community, to partner with others for important issues like gun safety. This campaign was an idea started by Congregation Beth Israel, Social Justice Committee, and the Minaret Foundation. Beth Israel itself is a Reformed Jewish synagogue, and the Minaret Foundation is a Muslim organization committed to social justice and interfaith understanding. And according to its website, it is committed to changing the world around us through multi-faith and civic engagement. That's a commitment that we're all committed to without question. Beth Israel and the Minaret Foundation reached out to other agencies involved because we knew they would care about gun safety, and we hope that they would work with us to help promote gun safety, and they have responded. Safe gun storage is important because so many unsecured guns are stolen every year, and unsecured guns often contribute to the wounding and killing of children and adolescents, as well as so many crimes. In 2022, the statistics were tremendous. In 2023, we know, even as of the events in East Lansing, Michigan, and on the MSU campus, and earlier today in El Paso, that we are already surpassing numbers that make all of us take a deep breath and wonder, what is the future? How can we make a positive difference? Our gun safety campaign includes small, large, and digital billboards, a website with resources including gun safety tips, links to information about gun safes, locks, and gun buybacks, as well as so many other resources on videos where many people find so much information today. As a rabbi and as other faith leaders in the community, we all come back to many familiar sources. In Judaism and in Christianity, we share a very important text. It says in Leviticus 19, as well as in the Gospels, love your neighbor as yourself. And if we can't begin with love, then we must insist on continuing by impressing on everybody how important the value of each life is. In Judaism and in Islam, we both share a very familiar statement, which is to say that to save one life is to save an entire world. And that's our purpose in gun safety, to be sure that as long as we're entitled to have them, that we must be able to use them wisely. And finally, I just want to conclude by sharing a very important verse from the book of Jeremiah. It says, "Seek peace in the city, for in the peace of the city shall we all have peace." That's the goal that all of us want for our residents who call themselves citizens, visitors, and guests in Houston and surrounding suburbs. Let's have peace in our city so that each of us in our homes, in our hearts, and when we leave our homes, let's all have peace. In Hebrew, we call it shalom. In Arabic, we call it salam, and we know it to mean wholeness and completeness. That's our goal. Thank you. And I'd like to invite Miranda Sargent, who will share a survivor's story.
Hello, my name is Miranda Sargent, and I'm here because my 14-year-old daughter, Adrienne Lambert, was shot and killed by my best friend's son in their home. It's been my mission since then to teach adults how to safely secure their firearms because it was so preventable what happened to my daughter. There was a gun safe 15 yards away from where they left their gun out. So it's very important for us as adults to protect our children and lock up our firearms. We do also have a Facebook page where we give away gun safes at least once a month, the biometric gun safes. And the Facebook page is Gun Safety, the number 4, Adrienne, ADRIENNE. So if you like our page and get on with one of our contests, then then maybe we could give away a gun safe to you, because we want to make sure that what happened to our family doesn't happen to anybody else's family, because Adrian was a very kind and loving child, and it shouldn't have happened to her, and it's just not fair. And again, it was very preventable. Thank you so much to the DA's office and Clear Channel for helping us spread the message about gun safety. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kim Ogg, Harris County District Attorney. The CDC reported in 2022, firearms became the leading cause of death for American children under 18. A spike in gun-related tragedies across the country has not spared Houston. 63 people in Harris County, which is Houston and the surrounding suburbs that were talked about, 63 people have been murdered in the first 45 days of this year, many by gun violence. Intimate partner violence, much of it through firearms, is way up. Places of worship have been breached, and hate crimes are on the rise. Younger and younger children with access to weapons are bringing them to school, and just yesterday, the district attorney's office charged someone for leaving his gun unsecured in a public place, a park, where a 3-year-old retrieved it and shot himself in the hand. These crimes have consequences. Criminals who use guns to commit their crimes go to jail, prison. They get permanent criminal records that make work life extremely difficult and often lead to further incarceration. And they pay. And they pay in part because they have to live with themselves. The idea that a gun was used either by a person to kill another or perhaps stolen from you and used to injure or kill another. Let's not make it easy for the criminals. Let's store guns safely in Harris County. Lock up your weapons, everyone. To that end, partnerships, public and private, that work together, partnerships like this one in the faith community between the Minaret Foundation and Beth Israel and your Social Justice Committee, the city council members that are here that are responsible for our public safety, these type of partnerships with Clear Channel and with my friend Edward Pollard have led us to take action in a very tangible way. Much like Miranda, we too are giving away gun safes. And to that end, Councilmember Pollard, please come up. I'd like to publicly thank him. These gun safes, the first 1,000 will be available to the first 1,000 takers. If you can't afford a gun safe for your car, we've got one for you. There's a QR code. Councilmember?
Well, good morning to everyone, and thank you, District Attorney Ogg, for the partnership. First, Rabbi, thank you for hosting us here at Congregation Beth Israel. To my colleague, Councilmember Cayman, Clear Channel, and all of our partners. It is a priority for the city of Houston when we talk about responsible gun ownership. And we've heard over the past several months on how many preventable incidents are happening around our city. We're having guns being stolen out of vehicles. We're having children finding guns at homes and causing incidents. And we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing as leaders around the city in this county? And so I got a call from the district attorney's office about an opportunity to purchase gun safes, 1,000 of them. And we jumped on that opportunity. And I want to thank you for leaning on our office for that. With HPD and the Sheriff's Department, our office really truly tries to make public safety the #1 priority. And with this partnership and this collaboration with all of us, we believe we will make a huge impact when it comes to gun safety. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Councilmember. Lock up our guns. Together we can do this. It is preventable.
Excuse me, Councilmember.
Good morning. I want to say thank you to all of our partners on behalf of Chief Fenner and all of the men and women of the Houston Police Department. We cannot do it alone. We say that many, many times, and it requires this partnership. I'm Matt Slinkard, the Executive Chief for the Houston Police Department, and I want to give a special thanks to Congregation Beth Israel for hosting us and for just being a champion along with us for public safety. The ATF, the District Attorney's Office, the council members that are here, Councilmember Pollard, Councilmember Cayman, we cannot do it without their support and the support of our mayor. And we also cannot do it without our public. You know, when you wear this uniform, like many of our men and women for decades, we see so many tragedies that are preventable. And that's kind of the message that's been shared thus far this morning, right? We have enough crime and tragedies that we must deal with, but let's focus on those things that are preventable so we don't have these horrific survivor stories that we have to listen to, so that we don't have our children harmed and affected by something that is 100% preventable. I've said it many times, responsible gun ownership is not only about training and proficiency. That is simply the beginning. Responsible gun ownership transcends that notion and is about the proper storage, safety, and security of those weapons. And absent that, you simply are not practicing responsible gun ownership. But we as a community are not going to sit idle. We as leaders are not going to sit idle. We are going to do everything we can, like this effort here today with these amazing partners, to help in any way that we can, to reduce those numbers of those tragedies. And one of those ways is by offering these gun safes. The Houston Police Department, in the coming weeks, at our Positive Interaction program that we have monthly in all of our patrol stations around the city. You're very familiar with our PIP program. A lot of national recognition on our Positive Interaction program, and it's our time to interact with citizens throughout our entire city. We will begin distributing these gun safes during that time for HPD. Sergeant Tracy Hicks, who's here, wave Tracy for everybody, thank you. You've seen Tracy many times. He's a champion for not only helping us fight crime like all the men and women in the Houston Police Department, but actually a champion for preventing it in a lot of the initiatives that we work on. And Tracy will be on hand at those PIP meetings to help us with the distribution and education on the proper use of these gun safes. So please, let's keep this going. Let's work together. Let's come up with everything that we can do as a community, our faith-based community, our community leaders, and all of our citizens, to make sure that we are constantly sending the message of gun ownership in a safe manner that will protect our children. It's so important. It's vital. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce our Chair of Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee for the City of Houston, Councilmember Abby Cayman.
Thank you, Chief. And Chief, I know you didn't mention it, but I will. HPD's efforts in gun violence prevention doesn't just start with the PIP meetings. We have been partnering for years in these efforts. These gun locks, and which I will talk a little bit about, HPD Community Affairs has been at parks for city events, engaging with families and talking with them, and for all of their efforts, we are forever grateful. So thank you, Chief. I also wanted to recognize Beth Israel and the Minaret Foundation. I think it's symbolic that we have the Jewish community and the Muslim community coming together under this large umbrella with all of our leaders of the city, quite frankly, to say enough and to ask for the public's help and active involvement as we try to stem the tide of gun violence, especially when it comes to our children. As DA Ogg said, firearms are the leading cause of death now in the United States. And what's more, for children ages 5 through 14, for homes with gun-owning parents, 3 in 4 of those children know where their firearm is stored, and more than 1 in 5 have actually handled that firearm without their parents' knowledge. And as parents, none of us want something to happen to our children, but it's about bringing awareness and normalizing conversations about gun safety. This week we celebrated the tragic anniversary of Parkland, and then Michigan State happened. And then overnight, in El Paso at a mall right next to the Walmart where 23 people had lost their lives. There have been more than 70 mass shootings in the 47 days of this year, and something has got to change. Each one of us must do our part and do everything we can to prevent firearms from falling into the wrong hands and keeping our children safe. Really quickly, one thing that residents can do, and I hope the media will continue to push this out, please stop keeping firearms in your vehicles if they're unsecured. HPD reported that over 4,100 firearms were reported stolen out of vehicles last year alone. That's more than 10 a day. Those guns are ending up on the street. Under Mayor Turner's One Safe Houston platform, we launched an initiative called Lock It Up Safe. I contributed district dollars, $75,000. Councilmember Pollard is pitching in. Everyone is stepping up to give out to the community gun safes, gun locks, as well as educational materials. We're also partnering, and you'll hear from volunteers from Be Smart and Moms Demand Action. They're going with me, along with HPD, to PTOs to talk with parents about the importance of safe storage. So if you're a parent and you want somebody to come and speak to your school, please let us know. With that, again, my deepest and most sincere appreciation to everybody involved. No one's gonna point them out, but I will, because I love them so much. Dina and Lisa, this could not have happened without you. But thank you to all of our partners, and a friendly reminder that on Saturday there will be another gun buyback program for those that have unwanted firearms in their homes and want to safely get rid of them. HPD and the Sheriff's Office will be collecting them, thanks to Commissioner Ellis and Mayor Turner. The city has dedicated over $1 million for these gun buybacks. That will be on Saturday at Dewson Park from 8 to noon. And again, our plea at this time is, even if you don't have a gun, we can all do our part and normalize the conversations about responsible gun ownership. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Fred Milanowski. I am the special agent in charge of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives here in Houston. First, I'd like to start off by thanking Dina Marks and Lisa Stone from Congregation Beth Israel. It's difficult to get all these partners together and at the same time, in the same agreement, doing the same thing, right? That's the kind of inertia that we need to address this issue. As a graduate of Michigan State University, my heart goes out to the students and the faculty and the law enforcement officers that are dealing with that tragic situation back in East Lansing. ATF recently released a report on crime gun intelligence, covered the years 2017 to 2021. That's the first significant crime gun report that's been done in 20 years. There's a significant data point that stood out in that report, and that is, in that 5-year period, over 1 million guns have been stolen in the United States, and 96% of those are stolen from citizens. That is 1 million guns going in the hands of criminals in all of our communities. That is tragic, right? And that is why we're all here today to address this issue. Unfortunately, the Houston metropolitan area is not exempt from that. You've heard about the guns stolen out of cars, over 4,000 in the city of Houston. Harris County SO also had just over 1,000 reports of them stolen out of cars. If we surveyed all the law enforcement agencies in Harris County, would definitely be hundreds, if not thousands of guns more than that, but probably more in the 8,000 to 10,000 range. Yeah. And those guns are going directly to our criminals, specifically our young criminals. That is where the 17, 18, 19-year-olds are getting their guns. And the problem is, when you steal a gun from a car, a criminal is even more emboldened to use that gun because, number one, they've got nothing invested, and number two, they got nothing tying them to that gun. If they buy the gun, on the street or in a back alley, there's at least one more person that knows they have that gun, and they've spent some money on it, so they have some investment. When they get a gun out of a car, I hate to use the term, but it's a freebie, right? So they're more emboldened to use it because they know they can just use it and throw it away, and there's nothing attaching them to it. So that is why guns coming out of cars is such a big problem for our community. We're asking people to be responsible gun owners. You've heard this from multiple partners that have been up here. And do not leave your guns untended in your vehicle. Now, there's really no excuse now. If you can get free safes, or they're very inexpensive, $200 to $300, which is much less expensive than what people pay for their handgun, you can get them at any of the federal firearm licensees, stores that sell guns, and have those mounted to your car and have a place where your gun can be safe in that vehicle. We also urge owners, this is another challenge for us. People don't, unfortunately, if they get their gun stolen, they don't know their make, model, and serial number, right? So it can't be put into the NCIC system, which is how law enforcement determines when they come across a gun if it's stolen. So what we are asking is for everyone to photograph all their guns, the make, model, and serial number. Keep it on your phone. We're not asking you to give it to law enforcement unless it's an unfortunate situation where your gun gets stolen. Then you can provide that information to law enforcement, and hopefully law enforcement can recover it. The other thing we'd ask is that you don't put stickers or other signs on your vehicle that you are a supporter of gun associations or the Second Amendment. I understand people have very pride in that and feel very strong about it, but really it's just an advertisement to the criminals that this is a car that's more likely than not to have guns in it. So you're going to be a target. So it's really defeating the purpose of it. So we're asking you, keep those off your vehicle so the criminals don't have certain vehicles to break into. Now, we've talked a lot about guns coming out of cars, right, which is a big problem for us. But I don't want to forget about securing guns in your homes, right? We've just all heard of all the tragic scenarios and situations where young kids have gotten their hands and accidentally shot people. I mean, it has got to be for a parent, that's got to be the most tragic feeling in the world, knowing that your irresponsibility, you could have locked that up, you could have put it in a safe, and it's all of us as part of this solution, right? Law enforcement, politicians, elected officials, the DA's office, the community, everyone's got to have a role in this because we have 400 million guns in this country. There's a lot of guns, and so we've got to make sure we're doing the right thing to change the philosophy and the thought process on having access to the gun and keeping it locked up. Let me finish this by saying that strong rights come with strong responsibilities, and we're asking everybody to step up and be responsible with your guns and keep them locked up. So thank you.
Excuse me. Good morning. I'm Karen Knapp. I am a volunteer with Moms Demand Action here in Houston. We have what's called a Be Smart program, and our volunteers, through this program, our volunteers have been encouraging and educating adults to secure their guns safely for many years, both in their home and in their car. Secure gun storage is vital to preventing guns from getting into our schools. 2/3 of K through 12 shooters acquire their firearm in the parent's home, think the Santa Fe High School shooter, or in the home of a close relative. I'm happy to say that Moms Demand Action volunteers and Students Demand Action volunteers have worked with school districts throughout the Houston area to educate parents and make them aware of the importance of storing their guns securely. In Houston ISD, they have been sending home a safe gun storage acknowledgement form, and parents are required to return it to the school district at the start of the school year. This has been going on since 2020. Katy ISD in 2022 started communicating safe gun storage messages to their families, and Pearland ISD recently added a gun safety page to their district website. Our volunteers are working actively with additional school districts to prevent children from taking guns from the home into schools. Our volunteers are passionate about sharing tips and resources for safe gun storage. We've been working, as Councilmember Cayman said, we've been working with her at PTO meetings. We go to farmers markets, community events, the Pride Parade, and share our message. And if you would like us to come talk to your group about safe gun storage, our contact information is on the HoustonGunSafety.org website. And I want to thank all the sponsors here and all of our partners here today for continuing to raise awareness about this issue. Thank you. And this is our SMART is an acronym for some major tips for storing your guns securely. So thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Farah Ahmed, and I'm representing the Minaret Foundation. I serve on the advisory board. The Minaret Foundation is an organization of practicing Muslims. We refuse to stand on the sidelines. We want to be part of making our society better. I'm also here in the memory of a young girl who I've never met. Her name is Sabika, and she loved this country so much that she asked to be an exchange student at the Santa Fe High School in Texas. In 2018, she left only her blood and tears in Texas as she was buried in Pakistan near her family. It was a shooting at her high school that was her last memory, and that of many students who were traumatized and killed in a place where they should be the safest. It was a boy of age 17 who was able to access guns from his own home, where he killed and wounded so many. We work so hard to keep our kids well-fed, educated, in a loving home, belted in cars, and yet this is the #1 killer of children now in our state. It is just unbelievable. And the sad thing is many of these shooters are children themselves. And so the call has to go out to protect our children. It has to be parents and families that have to be the first line of defense when so many guns and mass shootings are from their home or a home of someone they know. We have to message better about storing firearms, not keeping a loaded gun near a child, educating children on the dangers of handling a firearm, but also for parents to understand their own children and making sure that access to those guns is secure. There's also trigger locks. There are so many ways to keep these guns away from curious children and children who will not seek parental supervision before handling a weapon. These are all important projects and programs that we have here. We have amazing allies and partners who are making sure that we are going to keep guns safe away from children. We have to put kids first. They're depending on us to keep this world safe as they know it. How can we let them down? I ask you all to ask yourselves, this is a national emergency for our kids. What more can we do? What more should we do? Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez. One of the benefits of going towards the end of the program is that all the key points have already been shared. But I think it's still important to emphasize a few things that we've heard this morning. And Rabbi, thank you for hosting us, Congregation Beth Israel, Dina Marks with ADL for the invite, and all these wonderful, thoughtful leaders that are up here sharing their perspective, representing their respective organizations, whether it be a survivor story, faith community, elected leaders of city and county, and our federal partners. Thank you all. It takes all of us to make a difference. These incidents are preventable. Far too often, I've been on a scene where tragedy struck, where a child gained an unsecured weapon, and as you've heard, shot themselves, shot a sibling, shot someone else, and the situation turned deadly. And that family, those neighbors, those family and friends will forever be impacted. Too often responded to murder-suicides that are far too prevalent in our community, where there was an easy access to a gun. It was just readily available, could reach over to a nightstand or something, grab it, and in an emotionally charged moment, made that awful and tragic decision to take a life. We've seen suicides that we don't talk about often enough, again, because parents or someone left a weapon around, and someone going through depression or other issues gained access to that weapon and took their own life. And so there's a lot that we could all do, and there's still a lot of work to be done. But just today, you've heard of several things that can be done to make this preventable. You've heard from the advocacy groups like Mom Demands Action, where they go out to the community, go out to the markets, they go to the schools. We've heard from the chair of the City of Houston's Public Safety committee talking about going to parks, going to PTO meetings, and everyone to continue to raise awareness. You've heard from law enforcement asking our community to please secure your weapons. Do not leave them unsecured in your vehicle, where someone could gain easy access by simply breaking into your vehicle. We've had situations where we have folks following people from firing ranges, for example, because they know that obviously if they have a weapon, they stop to eat somewhere, go into a sporting goods store or something, guns get stolen. The scary thing about it is with those thousands of guns that are reported stolen, there's many others that are not reported because there's no requirement to report. So many more beyond the thousands that you heard of go unreported. So we really don't have a strong handle on how many are really out there where somebody gained access by simply breaking into a vehicle or a home, and now it's in the wrong hands. And many times, as you heard from Sac Milanowski, they end up in the wrong hands of juveniles that are out there taking them to schools, or we see juvenile crime in our community. Want to commend DA Ogg, Councilmember Pollen as well. Years ago, we've all in some form or fashion participated with the gun locks, and we too share them with the community. But now these safe storage kits are really nice, and I think, very grateful to have thoughtful leaders like this that are providing this to the community. So kudos to you all to take it to that next level beyond just the gun locks and now actually providing the safe storage unit itself. So briefly in Spanish, estamos hablando esta mañana sobre el almacenamiento de las armas, levantando conciencia que es muy importante alzar las armas tanto en las casas y también en los vehículos, porque muchas veces en las casas, pues obviamente nuestros niños, adolescentes y otros pueden tomar control de esa arma que no está alzada en una manera segura y puede pasar una tragedia, donde hemos visto en nuestra comunidad, donde ellos mismos utilizan la arma para dispararle a alguien en la casa en error o por accidente, o ellos mismos se pueden lastimar. También hemos visto donde muchas armas son robadas en nuestra comunidad porque no fueron alzadas en una manera segura. Entonces es muy importante levantar conciencia, por favor, que sean responsables con sus armas. Estos incidentes pueden ser prevenidos. Hay muchas oportunidades, como el concejal Pollard o la Fiscalía del Condado, Knapp también, que están dando paquetes gratis donde pueden alzar sus armas, los kits que pueden utilizar absolutamente gratis. Entonces estamos aquí para levantar conciencia para que la comunidad nos ayude con esto. And finally, just again, want to thank Clear Channel as well for always stepping up, and communication and raising awareness is so important, and they always step up and run these incredible, robust campaigns with digital ads, traditional billboards around the city and county. While people are driving, obviously, a lot of people are commuting each day. Just simply seeing that message may resonate with someone, may pique someone's interest to look further into safe storage and whatever the campaign is about, and just want to commend them for being a great business partner and all the wonderful things that they do. So it's my honor and privilege to introduce Libella to come to the podium, please.
Thank you so much, Sheriff Gonzalez, and you are doing such a fantastic job in Harris County. And we have, on behalf of Clear Channel Outdoor and Clear Channel Worldwide, I want to say how proud we are to be a part of this particular effort. We are talking about saving lives here, and if our billboard messages can drive that message home to the traveling public, then that we are all better for that. This campaign is a major campaign that will run the entire year of 2023, and it will include both traditional billboards and digital billboards throughout the area. Traditional, we have about 20, 24, 25 billboards going up throughout the on the freeways and near neighborhoods, and in our digital billboards, it will be on up to 44 digital units throughout the entire area. That includes Harris County, Galveston County, Fort Bend County, Waller County, Montgomery County, and so forth, so Austin County. So we are committed to take this message to the public. And like so many other programs that we do, we know that it will make a difference. I was mentioning to Councilmember Cayman this morning that our human trafficking campaign that we did a couple of years ago resulted in a 33% increase in the number of calls into the hotline in Washington, D.C. out of Texas. And that resulted in 1,604 victims being found and helped in the state of Texas. So we know the message resonates. We know we can get to people with these messages. And so with this message, we're very hopeful that it will not only resonate with the citizens of this area, but it will help to save our children's lives and everyone's life. Because we're not saying you have your gun, but please, please make sure that it's locked up and secured when you're in your home. So thank you so much to Congregation Beth Israel for being here, for us being here today, and so many city leaders and county leaders and so many folks that have come out to be supportive of this. And the digital billboards are running right now. So you'll probably, if you're out in the area, you may see some of them. And then the traditional billboards will be going up next week. So we're very proud to be a part of this. And throughout this year, these billboard messages will generate over 99 million market impressions. So we're going to be reaching a lot of folks throughout this year. And and Rabbi, it represents about $500,000 worth of advertising that we're donating here today. So thank you very much for us to be a part of that.
I think that concludes everything. We just want to make sure not only to thank all of our partners in this, because we certainly couldn't do it without you, but we want, and we thank you for extending the message beyond what we're doing. But we want you to make sure that you get the website, which is